First time riding with the Ace Pro 2. I've also got the DJI Mini mic, and I'm just going to do a small ride today. I'm going to go into Dawlish, do a little loop around Dawlish, and then I'm going to come back and head to Dawlish Warren, and then do another little loop around back to Dawlish. It's kind of late. I've left it late. I've had a week off of work. Today was a bank holiday Monday, so back to work tomorrow. And just wanted to kind of get this in and give it a little test. Just kind of get familiar with it before I start again. I have kind of rushed out and a little bit concerned because I think my front tyre is a little bit flat. I can feel it kind of wobbling a bit, so I might need to take my time. It's only going to be a short ride, so I think I can get away with it. So this is Dawlish Seafront now, and I'm going to loop around, go up Brunswick in a second. And I'm also concerned because obviously this tech is new to me. The Mic Mini I've got just attached with the magnet, so maybe now I should have a little tamper with it. Okay, it's still on, thankfully. And I've got the Ace Pro 2 connected to the Garmin mount, the out front mount. So maybe I can slow down in a sec and take the camera off and do a bit of a selfie moment. I think the one thing I realised with the magnetic attachment on the Ace Pro is that I think it's going to be a two-handed operation, so really I might be best stopping here and then I can take it off. So I watch quite a few YouTube videos and I watch GCN. I see a lot of people holding the camera like this and it kind of scares me, to be honest, but here I am doing it now, coming up to a junction, so let's see how well this goes. Okay, I think pointing the camera and riding the bike is going to be it'll take some time to get used to. I'm already getting plenty of strange looks. That's okay. I can turn it around again now though and show you the strand. So clipping on was one-handed and actually quite easy thanks to the magnetic attachment. This is the strand. I used to work at Woolworths at the end of this street a long time ago when Woolworths was a thing, and I remember a lady came in one time and she said, "Could you tell me where the centre of town is?" And I said to her, "You're in it." I think she was expecting a lot more, so it is quite a small town, although it is growing very quickly. Lots of houses being built, but I suppose that's kind of happening all over the place, right? So already coming back out of Dawlish now. I'm on the road. I guess I could have gone on the cycle path. but normally I like to stay on the road here because I don't use the full cycle path. Like, I have to turn off to go home and to cut across this road. I mean, at this time of night it's okay, but to do it in the middle of the day or a weekend, I think cutting over the road, it's just too dangerous. You're better off being on the road, occupying the space you need, and then the cars can work around you, rather than having to stop at the crossing, cars stopping and then you going back on the road, them getting frustrated, or you jumping off the curb and again confusing the drivers. I'd rather just occupy the space. Okay, so this is Exeter Road. Obviously Exeter Road leads to Exeter, but we're going to turn off and go to Dawlish Warren. All of this on the right here is cycle path, so obviously if you're not keen on the road, then the cycling really is good around here. There's lots of shared paths all the way to Exeter, and then from Exeter you can even go to Exmouth, so it's about 30 kilometres going one way, and then obviously if you want to come back the same way you can. But I'll peel off here, get back onto the cycle path. Like I say, I've kind of left this late. It's 8:15. It's August, end of summer, so there's not much light left. And I think the bad news with my current setup with this camera is it's taken the place of my bike light. But as you might be able to see, and maybe it's a bit annoying actually, I've got a daylight on, so it's flashing. I'll put it on a full beam. But this is all shared paths, so you can cycle along this, and like I say, all the way to Exeter there is some on road, but it's like little lanes that cars aren't meant to really go on. They can, but only for access ideally. And I think especially on a weekend you can the bikes outweigh the cars, so I think the cars are respectful. It's 20 mph limit, it's quite safe, and then you've got lots more shared paths all the way along to Exeter. Exeter's got lots of options on that side, but you can also like I say, go to Exmouth as well. So going to Exeter is going north, currently along the coast, but then eventually we reach the River Exe and go up that way. And then if you want to go to Exmouth, you're going southish, back down the opposite side. The camera's taken place of my light, my main light anyway. There's enough light anyway not to be worried, and I've got the daylight for cars to see me. But obviously it's going to get a little darker, so it'll be interesting to see like how well it does, the Ace Pro 2 in dark light, because I bought this at the end of the summer, and obviously I intend to use it and record a lot of my rides, but the light's obviously dying and it's going to be hard to kind of find the time in the day. So I think hopefully it can do some videos like with the torch. I don't know how well it'll come out, I don't know how fun that'll be to watch, but I guess I can get a slight idea of how well it'll go on this one as it gets darker. So this is Dawlish Warren now, and we've got over here, like some of the holiday apartments. So we're going under the train track now. Dawlish is quite famous for the train line because it runs right along the coast. You've got the train track on the seawall, and you've got like a little path on the seawall, then it's just the beach, so the train runs right along it. When you sat on the train, you get to see obviously the sea and the coast and all the people having fun, which I guess if you're going to Exeter or London for work, sometimes it's kind of depressing, right, to see people on holiday. But then obviously the train also brings people on holiday, so that's what it's famous for, Dawlish, I think. That and the black swans. Okay, if I'm worried about punctures, this wasn't the place to come, but never mind, I'll be out of it in a sec. Yeah, so I think it was in 2014 we had a big storm, and because the train track is on the seawall, the waves obliterated a big chunk of the seawall, swept it away, and the train tracks were just left hanging, so obviously they had to shut that down and then rebuild it. The train line currently, like coming through Dawlish, is the only one down to the southwest, so everywhere further to the south was cut off. I think Plymouth being one of them, like one of the big cities. And there was talk of opening like a second train line kind of further north above Oakhampton. There used to be a train line there, but it got closed down. And I think obviously with how things are nowadays, it's just too much money for them to do that, so they had to rebuild the Dawlish line as quickly as they could. Here it is now again, that we're about to go under. And what they did to try and protect like what was remaining of the wall was they put down those big containers, you know, like the shipping containers, and they cut out the tops and then filled them with concrete just to kind of create like a temporary wall. This car's coming through, so we're going to have to wait a little while. And that kind of made them a temporary wall just to kind of protect what they were doing and what was kind of remaining. And then they gave like a certain time for how long it'll take to build, because obviously there's a lot of businesses dependent on it, especially with people coming on holiday this way and going further south. If the trains aren't there, then it really causes a lot of trouble for the businesses. So they gave their estimate of how long it'll take. And I guess a lot of people weren't kind of too confident in the time given, but they managed to do it. They did it well. I think they were respectful of the people in Dawlish, and they were known as the Orange Army. And I think they built like a kids' play park, and then they made like a climbing frame out of wood that was like in the shape of a train, so it was all in the name of the Orange Army, so it was a good job done. And there's been a lot more work done on the wall since, like they've rebuilt parts of it to try and make it more resilient. They've put in like big curved concrete slabs, so when the sea hits the wall, it just kind of like goes up and then shoots back out. Hey,
have you come across any money?
No, sorry. What have you lost?
Huh?
What have you lost?
25 quid.
Alright. Have you come from that way? No, I didn't see it, I'm sorry. Alright, well that kid lost 25 quid. He was only young, so it's obviously a lot of money, but I didn't see it, and there's plenty of people that way, unfortunately. He's obviously upset. Yeah, so it's definitely getting dark now. There's enough light to see, but I've got my, I'm calling it my daylight. I can't remember what you call them. It's obviously the day that you meant. It's obviously the light that you meant to run in the day. So I haven't got any concerns with cars not being able to see me. I've got a rear light on as well. I think this will be a good test to see what the footage looks like. So this is a bit of a gravelly path through to Exeter Road again. So this kind of gets me back over to Dawlish. That was Dawlish Warren that I'm leaving now. And so I say it's a gravelly path. I'm on road tyres, but it is a gravel bike. I guess I can show my bike in another video because obviously it's getting dark now. But it's a Boardman ADV 8.9, so it's the one that's got the hydraulic disc brakes, but it's still, I think it's aluminium. It's not the carbon. If I had have got the 9, it would have been carbon. I've had it pretty much a year now. And maybe I can talk about this more in another video as well, but I've only been cycling the last couple of years, pretty much 2 years. I had a bike when I was a kid, and I loved it when I was a kid, but for whatever reason, maybe you take things for granted when you're a kid. And I guess when I got into my teenage years, I stopped riding. I think I did just stop riding actually, and I had a bike like in the shed for a long time. That's my GPS making that noise. I think I must have had a bike in a shed for a long time, and I gave it away to a family member, or he bought it from me actually. If he hears me say that, he'll probably want me to be reminded that he did pay. Because I think he treated it rather badly and then maybe accused me of giving him something a bit crappy. But I guess what I've learned over the last 2 years is bikes, they need a lot of maintenance, and I guess if you're riding it a lot of money spent on it as well. So the Boardman ADV 8.9, this is the 2025, which is I think it's the latest one. I don't think they've come out with another one yet. It was £1,200, and I saw the other day that they dropped it down to 960 now. So when I started cycling 2 years ago, I bought a hybrid bike. It was the Carrera Parva, and I bought that just because it was a cheap one. I was only used to flat handlebars when I was a kid, so I just went with what I knew. I think I used to call it a mountain bike when I was a kid, but I don't remember it having suspension on it. So I think we called them mountain bikes, but really they weren't. And I know kids nowadays, they've all got mountain bikes. Half the time they don't ride them, you just see them doing wheelies and bouncing the suspension up and down. But as far as I remember, I never had a mountain bike. I think it was just a hybrid. I think the big thing when I was a kid was having like the biggest amount of gears. And back then, I think like having three rings on the front maybe got you, I don't know, 21 gears. And if you had less than that, then maybe you were looked down upon. So I just wanted to come this way quickly because this is a brand new road. It's not complete yet, so I'm going to have to turn around at the end. But this is meant to be like a relief road for some of the estates in front of us. And it's been a big point of contention because, like I say, when I said earlier that they're building lots of houses, this is where they're doing it in front of us. And it's meant that all of the estates that have existed since like the 70s, they've all had to endure a lot of traffic, a lot of construction traffic. It was the only way in to this area, and they built this to ease the, I don't know, the burden, I guess. But the deal was that they had to sell, I think the deal was they had to sell 50 houses before they would finish it. So the part I'm on now is built by the council. The part that's closed here is built by the developer, and obviously it's unfinished. They've just opened it like for their own needs, so that now the construction lorries can come through. It's not open to anyone else yet. But yeah, it's a big point of contention because obviously it's a lot of noise, a lot of rubble dropped, surprisingly, which is very concerning. Like, it doesn't just fall out and drop straight on the floor, does it? It bounces all over the place, so dangerous. And also the road that I'm speaking of, it's got two schools either end, so these great big construction lorries are speeding past two schools, kids trying to pass, you know, across the road. Lots of mums and dads trying to get the kids to school, lots of congestion, so it's really been a big deal. And this road should have been opened much sooner than it was, but they are now opening it for the lorries at least. And I think it's going to take some time for all of the companies to realise they're not meant to go up the other road anymore, they have to come this way. But I guess it's almost finished. When I started riding 2 years ago, like I say, I had the hybrid Carrera Pava with the 50mm tyres, the big knobbly tyres, and I was so unfit. Like, I think I was 39 when I bought that bike. My kids would have been 3 years old. I've got twin girls, so obviously those were 3 hard years. But it does eventually get a bit easier as they get older, and I started to realise, you know, I'm reaching a certain age, my fitness is terrible, and I need to do something. So I don't know what made me do it really, but I went and got a bike, and I didn't know if I could do it, I didn't know if I'd enjoy it. What I wanted to do was just do a bit of a loop that I'm doing now, not even as much as this. And this hill here, I think from the main road up to here is 30 meters elevation, if that. And I used to have to step off and walk. I'm still out of breath now. But I don't know, it's been a long weekend. I can do that hill nice and easy now, and I'm doing far bigger ones. So I guess to end that story, I've been cycling 2 years. I started with the hybrid, the next year I bought this, the gravel bike, and I've just continued to progress really. I think my cardio is pretty damn good now. I don't know, I haven't had it checked by a doctor, so maybe they'd disagree, but it's far better than what it was. I've lost some weight. I think my body shape has changed a little bit. I am in cycling jersey and lycra shorts. I didn't think that'd ever happen. I think as a working class person it kind of took a bit of swallowing my pride to get to that stage, but I actually really enjoy wearing them. They're really comfortable. My gears sound terrible at the minute. And I forgot what I was saying, but I guess going back to the bike, the Boardman, I don't have like much experience with bikes at all, so I can't say like how great it is in comparison to something else, but it's doing me well. I'm really enjoying riding it. And what I did with the hybrid is obviously because it was just a cheap one, I kind of used it for riding, needless to say, but also just to learn about maintenance of bikes, and I've really enjoyed doing that. There goes my gears again. They obviously need some fixing up, but yeah, I've learned so much. Obviously all the basic stuff like tyre pressures, I don't know, oil in your chain, but I've done gear cable changes. On the hybrid I opened up the hub, not knowing that all the ball bearings would fall out. I managed to fix that after some stress. And with this Boardman, I guess like everyone does really, like you start off with what you get from the shop and then you change pieces as you go and try and make it, I don't know, more comfortable, faster, whatever it is that you're going for. So this is the road I was speaking of, with one of the schools on my left there. Okay, this is a bit tricky now because I haven't got my torch and this car needs to come on my side. He's seen me though. This is a cycle path here as well, so I could have gone on that really. And yeah, so I've had this bike for a year. I went to Dartmoor yesterday. I did Haytor Vale, which I think is like 340 metres elevation. I think it's like the biggest in the area. I don't actually know of a bigger one yet. Like, I know there's lots more in the country, but that's one that I can cycle to from home. And as I said, I used to have to step off for that 30 metre climb that I did, so to be able to go to Haytor Vale, that was I think 67 kilometres distance, and then maybe like 1100 metres total elevation. So it's a vast improvement over what I used to be able to do. Like my target was just 6 kilometres. That 6 kilometre loop that I've just done on this ride. And I guess what I've realised is that, for me at least, maybe the confidence has taken longer to build than the fitness. It's not that I was like, you know, riding nervous, but I mean to say that I just wasn't aware of what I could actually do. If we go back down to Dawlish now, into the town, this is the way that I'd go to Dartmoor. So if like going the other way towards Exmouth or Exeter, that's all flat, so I don't think I mentioned that previously, like it is lots of distance, but it is also very flat. So I started going that way. Again, just building like what my maximum distance was each time. I go to Pewdham Castle, be pleased with that, and then next time do a bit more. And then I'd go to Turf Locks, then go to Exeter, then go to Exmouth, so I just kept going. And yeah, really built my confidence just on the flats. Then I could go inland where there's more hills and pretty much endless country lanes where there's not so much traffic, so I could take my time on the hills, get used to doing some climbs. And then this year I set myself the target of 4,000 kilometers for the year, and I knew to do that I'd have to also cycle through the winter, like January, February, March time. And I think doing that, like, really, I think it kind of improved my fitness, but maybe that was also the period where, because it was hard to go out because I was having to go out in the dark and the cold, to keep it exciting I would go like somewhere different each time, which meant kind of challenging myself to sometimes do some hills that I hadn't done before. And the one that I never even tried is called Holcombe Down Road, which we're not too far from now. I'm not going to go that way because it's late, and like I said, I haven't got a very good light with me. But I did it probably February time, and I think I skipped the bottom bit because like I went around to try and like reduce the amount of elevation, so I kind of started in the middle, and I realized the middle wasn't actually that bad at all. And then at the top it gets a bit steep, but having done it like the first time, the next time I went I did the bottom as well, I realized the bottom wasn't that bad at all either. So I think my fitness was already there, and it was just needing to improve. I don't know if confidence is the right word, but just the scope of what you think you can do, I think, is the best way to talk about it. And once I had done that, that then opened up like going further south and lots more places to go, because I'd kind of done like Exeter 1,000 times, had gone inland 1,000 times, up some of the hills. I've gone up to Heldon quite a few times, although that is a big climb as well. So it really did open up lots of places, and it was really like a big revelation for me, because I realised that, yeah, that hill wasn't as big as I thought it was, and I am far more capable than what I thought as well. Yeah, but just to, I guess just to finish off what I was saying, I went to Dartmoor yesterday. It almost didn't happen. I think I might go in the surgery here. It almost didn't happen because the last time I rode, my gear cable snapped. And I tried to fix it on Saturday night, I couldn't do it. I got the cable in, and it just seemed like I couldn't shift at all. Like maybe I could shift up one and then down one, but that was it. But I was kind of relying on the fact that the head of the gear cable had like shot out somehow, which, having played around, I realised is probably never going to happen because it has to go through just one specific hole in like a specific angle. So the next day, which was yesterday, here, let's try and do a selfie again. Yeah, the next day I realised that I needed to make sure that the head of the cable wasn't in there anymore, and I looked in with a torch, and it was in there. I could see the frayed cables without a doubt. So there's a little like compartment underneath the shifter, just one little screw. You can pull that out and then get some tweezers in there and pull it out. And then that enabled me to get the cables back in. So I did that in the morning, then I had just enough time Sunday afternoon to go to Dartmoor. It was a bit concerning because I don't know if you want to make like big changes like that and then do a biggish ride. So back on the Strand now, the main part of Dawlish. But yeah, so I guess the reason I'm saying that is because my gear cables still do need some tweaks, which is why it's kind of rattling like crazy on some of those hills. But it worked enough to get me to Dartmoor, and I guess it just needs some tweaking to smoothen it out a bit. So I guess that's the end of the video. Thanks for joining me if you watch this. I think I'm just going to post the whole thing, so there won't be any cuts. See you next time. Thank you.